Greetings and welcome, my beautiful people. This episode of Clear Thinking with Brother Dulani is devoted to some of the current event taking place right now. I noticed that I've been hearing some rhetoric in the media coming from Donald Trump camp. I heard him talking about taking over of Greenland, taking over of Canada, and even the idea of renaming the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I find it quite interesting. I don't know how much of it is rhetoric or how much of it is real. You never can tell these days what is real from what is just rhetoric and tactics, because they're very good at putting out tactics to see how people would react. But I'm going to take this opportunity while they're talking about land grab, taking over people's land, and this is something that they've been doing from the early days of Manifest Destiny, where you come, you see people land, you take it over in the name of Manifest Destiny. You think that you're entitled to just take other people's land, take their resources. I hear you telling Canada that it's better for us to take you over. Now, what I want to focus on is in the Gulf of Mexico. The idea of renaming the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I look at this and I said to myself, as a Pan Africanist, looking at this idea of naming things, and I know that Europeans have this, I don't know, they have this practice of going around the world naming places. And they name place after their own people, they name place after their heroes and their conquerors, which in many cases, many of their conquerors is our torturer. You know what I mean? Their heroes are our terrorists. They terrorize us, they murder us, they kill us. But in their eyes, they're heroes, and they build statues and monuments to honor these people. And in many cases, we have to walk by these statues and monuments every day. We have to see them and pretend like it doesn't affect us. Look at the disrespect, the insult to our own humanity and our dignity as a people. We see this happens, particularly in the United States. If you go into the South, many of the Confederates, soldiers and monuments still stand as a reminder of people who used to own our ancestors. They even got presidents on dollar bills and put them on big Mount Rushmore, and many of them was slave owners and so-called slave owners for us, the owners of African people. You know what I mean? They were enslavers, and we have to endure these dignities. Looking at these people, and they want us to celebrate in the honoring of these people who used to murder our ancestors. That is something that we have to come to terms with as a people. Are we going to keep honoring wicked and evil people who have done terrible, inhumane crime against African humanity? And then there's another question in this as well. Are European people, white people, are going to continue to honor those people who did great inhumane act and genocidal behavior? Are they going to keep honoring these people and expect us to join in with the honoring of those wicked people who have done great harm to our people? That is something that every European has to look in themselves and decide. And we have to decide for ourselves: are we going to join in the celebration of these people? Keep honoring them and venerating them, despite all of the atrocities, all the harm and pain they have inflicted on our people. Now, with that said, let's look at our current condition. If these people can have the gall and decide still that in 2025 they want to rename places, the Gulf of Mexico been the Gulf of Mexico from in the 1600s. Now they want to rename it the Gulf of America. Now, if they could be so bold, I want to rename the Gulf of America. I am suggesting to African people that we can need to be bold as well. We need to rename the Caribbean Afribean, because the Caribbean is the land of the Carib, and Caribs are considered to be cannibal. It's considered to be the land of the cannibals. Now, are we going to keep maintaining this, or are we going to be bold enough to change it? Since we're in the business of changing names, we have to take our own agency and decide that we are going to change things as well. We are going to change the dynamics. Now, for us, naming go even deeper. Because we were stripped of our African humanity, and we were stripped of our connection to our ancestors, and stripped of our knowledge of self and knowledge of our family names and our cultural ties to our ancestry. Our names have been erased. Our African name has been erased, and our names has been replaced with European enslavers, torturers, terrorist names. We are carrying around the names of people who used to torture us, murder us, do all kind of inhumane atrocities against us. That is a fact. Are we going to keep maintaining this atrocity, this insult, this disrespect, this dishonoring of our ancestors by maintaining these names on ourselves? Or are we going to be bold enough to change these names, to regain or retain or re-embrace our own African name as we move forward? What are we going to do? We need to take these opportunities, raise these issues amongst our political leaders. Let's use Jamaica for an example. Many towns in Jamaica are named after enslavers who used to have plantations that had our ancestors on those plantations. Hundreds, thousands of our ancestors on these plantations in these towns are named after these enslavers. Should we keep maintaining them, or should we change them? Many of the parishes in Jamaica are named after the families of enslavers. The enslavers themselves, their wives, and many of their towns where they come from. They brought those towns' name to Jamaica, and they named the place after their history, their ancestors. Now, as a liberated people, do we continue the legacy of maintaining the honoring and the commemoration and the veneration of those who did great harm to us, who enslaved and colonized us? Do we continue to maintain this, or do we get a sense of self-respect, a sense of self-dignity, and decide to take control of our own African humanity and build an African culture based on truth, based on justice, based on dignity for ourselves and for our future? That is the question that we have to ask ourselves. And all of this should be done in love, should be done with justice, should be done in fairness, ethically, morally, because no people in the world should be forced or should be in a position where we have to honor those who have enslaved us and commit genocide and atrocities against us. We should not be in a position where we have to do that. And in many cases, across the African world and in the Affirming, we have many territories that African people are in control today. And all it requires is the will of the people to change these names, remove them, and rename the places in honor of those who have fought against the colonizers, the enslavers, those who brutalized us, the oppressors. It's as simple as that. Whatever the cost is, Whether we have to pay 5 cents a week, 5 cents a month, 5 cents a year, it should be a commitment. And we begin to change them gradually until we remove all the colonial and the enslavers' name and those who have done great harm, those who commit mass murder and genocide. And, we begin to move them out of our community. We catalog them. We put them in some museum somewhere where people can say yes, and we catalog them. We have some online directories or somewhere where people can reference these people and know that they actually was here. They did these great nasty things and inhumane things, and we keep that as a part of the human records, that these people actually existed. This type of inhumanity, evil and wicked people did exist amongst us, and they have done great harm. But we're not going to honor them. We're going to relegate them to museums. And we can create some type of storage to where we can have access to these files when we want to document our history and for our future generations. But we should not have them in no pride of place. None of our roads, our hospitals, our schools, none of our significant buildings, our towns, our parishes, our state, our country should be named in honor of these people. We should have no statue erect in our public places to honor these people. None. It is a matter of self-respect and dignity. So while we're in the business of changing names, African people, people in the Afribean, we have a work to do. We need to take control and rename these places to honor ourselves and our ancestors. And we must continue to fight for our liberation, our economic, political, and ideological liberation. Let's be clear. It is very simple. What is lacking is the will. The will. Our people has been dispossessed of power for so long that we have become so complacent with powerlessness, and then we feel that it is too difficult. It's too hard to do these simple things. But a European could come tomorrow and says, I want to change name, I want to change that, and it's done. But we become timid, and in many cases we become accomplices and collaborators in our own oppression and in our own exploitation and our own disrespect. We need to stop it. Stop naming our children after these people. We're not Smith, Johnson. We're not Brown or Wilson or all these names that you have as your last name carrying on. They're not our names. They're the names of our enslavers who rape our ancestors, who commit all kind of sexual abuse against our people, and physical torture and psychological trauma. We should not be honoring these people by naming ourselves and our children. Our children is the most precious things that we have, are the precious thing that we have in this universe. We cannot name them after and give them the name of people who used to torture us. As I know many of you are becoming so tied to these names. You think that these names are so, wonderful and loving. You fall in love with these names. But these names was given to you in blood, in torture, in rape. You got to understand that. We need to get rid of these names and respect ourselves. Find you an African name. And African historians need to make the names become available. Go online and create database of African name, or find databases of African name and rename yourself. And African governments and Afribean, which is the Caribbean governments, need to make this process as easy as possible and accessible as possible, so our people can begin that process of changing their name and changing their town names and changing their community name, changing their school's name, their hospital name, their roads. We as a society have to carry out this revolution. This is an internal work. No European, no former descendants of enslavers can come and do this particular work for us. We have to do this work for ourselves. It's out of self-respect, self-dignity, self-honor that we have to carry out this work. We have to get over our love affair with these enslavers' name, whatever it is. There's so many names out there. Johnson, Smith, Wilson, Thomas, McDonald's, you name it, on and on throughout our society. So many names that we just have to get rid of them all and get an African name. Or make up a name if you have to. But we cannot honor these people by carrying on their name and naming our precious children in their names. And this has been another episode of Clear Thinking with Brother Dulani. Do help to share and grow this podcast. Please like, please subscribe, and please follow for more content like this. I promise you, my people, I will keep bringing you more revolutionary thinking, more clear thinking about our condition. It's very natural. It's very clear to me. Thank you for listening. And until next time, walk good, my people. My respect every time.